Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bible reading plan. Today we're in Luke chapter 23. We have two more chapters to go, including this one. Then we're done with Luke and we're going to start into the final gospel of John. And hopefully I can get a few more voices in the gospel of John so we can see, in on this Bible reading plan, so we can see, perspectives from other people, what they think about the gospel and what they pull out of the scriptures. But I want to focus on one thing today. We're in the crucifixion, and we've gone through the crucifixion a few times, but there's this story that we haven't heard of yet. This account hasn't been given yet, and it's around verse 32. And Jesus is on the cross, and he's had to walk to the cross, been humiliated, be beaten, and be nailed on a cross. It's the worst form of punishment in the ancient world, and certainly in this time, it's the worst form of punishment there is. And Jesus, the sinless Son of God, God in human flesh, walks to the cross for us, and that is so heavy, knowing that he didn't have to be there. And even knowing this, we hear this. It says, two others who were criminals were led away to be put to death with him, and when they came to the place that is called the Skull, they crucified him, and the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. And then Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. There was no sin, there was no anger in Jesus as he was being nailed by people who hated him. And that is crazy. That shows us the love of Jesus, to love those who are his enemies. He says, love your enemies, pray for those who persecute you. And this is Jesus in the hardest time of his life, certainly a harder time than any of us have ever gone through by far. In the darkest night, he says, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. It's crazy. And they casted lots to divide his garments, and we see in verse 39, one of the criminals who were hanged railed at him, saying, Are you not the Christ? Save yourself and us. See, he's prideful. He has the pride to, this criminal has the pride to, while hanging on the cross, while dying, says, if you're the Son of God, then save us and save yourself. And that's so prideful to think, why would Jesus, who doesn't deserve to be on that cross, want to save you? Why would you still find yourself worthy of being saved? Right? That's silly. It's so prideful. Even in his last moments, he had that pride to say that to Jesus. But the second criminal wasn't. He didn't have the same attitude. And this is the attitude that he has is one that Jesus has been saying over and over that we must adopt to get to the kingdom of heaven. And he says, but the other rebukes him, saying, Do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? He says, humble yourself. Do you not have a fear of the Lord? You are saying these things to God himself. And we indeed justly, for we are receiving the due reward of our deeds. That's humility. That's saying, I deserve this punishment that I am getting. I'm not trying to act like I deserve or, I'm worthy of anything. We deserve this punishment and we're getting this punishment. But he says, this man has done nothing wrong. He says, Jesus is totally innocent and he is up there and you're asking him to let you down. And he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. That's saying, Jesus, I relinquish my power to do anything. He says, Jesus, you are the only one who can provide salvation for me. And he said to him, truly, I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise. And that shows, there's a lot of theologies that will tell you have to get baptized to go to heaven, or you have to do this or that before you go to heaven. But no, it's by faith you will be saved. It's not of anything else, not of works, not of any tradition, not of any sacrament like baptism. It's those things are all good in their proper place, but it's not what saves you. He says you have been saved through faith. Through faith in Jesus Christ. And faith is something that comes about through humility. It's humbling yourself. It's asking God to soften your heart, right? It's opening your heart to Jesus, saying, God, I cannot do this by myself. I need you. I know who you are. I know what you did on the cross. Your work on the cross is what gives life, and I'm not worthy of that, right? And that's what the thief did to his very last breath. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter how dirty you are. You can come to Christ for forgiveness, and he will offer you eternal life if you turn away. And that's what that criminal did at the last second. He turned away. And now he's walking the streets of gold, and he knows far more about grace than any theologian or any philosopher that has ever lived. So I thank you for joining me today. Gosh, just think about the crucifixion and what that means for your faith. Think about the love of Jesus who died on the cross. Think about the forgiveness of Jesus. Even that moment, he says, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. That forgiveness of Jesus while he was being persecuted. Carry that out today. You know, in this world, we'll have trials, but Jesus has overcome the world. And he did that while forgiving people on the cross. He is the reason we live. He's the reason we go to church. He's the reason we're Christians. He's the reason to get, this cross is the reason to give our entire lives to him. So thank you for joining me. Seek Jesus today. Pray that God makes this more real to you every single day. Thank you for joining me today. Hope to see you tomorrow in Luke chapter 24. Bye.